And welcome to the Unmitigated Truth. I'm your host, Gregory Meriweather. It is good to be here. Welcome to the show. Man, I'm super excited about this. It's been a long time coming. I mean, we've done it. I can't lie. We've done this before. We've tried it. You know, um, it's been a few months or so. I mean, of course I go live. We all know that I still go live. But it's been a minute since I've, done some camera work. It's been since the Black briefing. Shout out to Samantha Douglas and my boy Wild Style Pashelle. Wild Style for show. So it's been a minute. And so man, the Unmitigated Truth, it's a show that, sometimes we'll laugh, sometimes we'll cry, sometimes y'all gonna be mad at me. Sometimes I'm gonna be mad at y'all. What will you not see on the Unmitigated Truth? You ain't gonna see no twerking. You're not going to see no drunken grannies. You're not going to see no drunken old schools. You're not going to see a bunch of people cussing and fussing and, it's none of that. And not to knock it, just know that, I have my day. And if I ain't doing it, if you wasn't there when I was doing it, it's not going to go down. So don't be looking forward to that. But this is a show where information, We're gonna look at old information. We're gonna look at things of the past. We're gonna look at things for the present, things for the future, and we're just gonna hear my commentary on it. Hopefully, you all will chime in and give your thoughts about what it is that I say. And then also, man, as you can see at the bottom, you got the Unmitigated Truth. We want you to follow that on Facebook. We got the Unmitigated Truth page or the YouTube channel. We want you to follow that. We're on X, and then of course to promote the show. Merry Minds Creation. This is a Merry Mind Creation production. Merry Mind Creation is an organization that focuses on creating ideas and concepts that ultimately changes the minds of people. And so, man, this is our first show. I'm excited about it. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff that's been going on politically, a lot of stuff that's been going on in the community. We're going to talk about, sometimes we'll talk about national stuff again. And a lot of times we'll talk about community stuff, whether it be in the city of Indianapolis or anywhere around the country. So let's get started, man. So I'm excited about today's show. We had a situation last week, and it was I put out a post, and what I saw a post from a brother, and in that post it was Morris Douglas. And he made a post about AES, and someone sent me his post. And when I saw his post, quite naturally, I'm like, man, let me do something with this post. And for those of you who follow me for a long time, y'all know that once I get my teeth in it, it's like it's time to roll, and we're gonna do something about it. So when I saw this post, I was like, man, I gotta say something about this post, because if I don't know, maybe I won't be able to sleep. So here's the post. And when I saw this post, I was like, man, this is quite interesting, because I was like, dang, bruh is going through it, right? And I didn't necessarily like what I saw, but I was like, what do you do with it? And so when I saw it, I was like, let me do my due diligence and do something about this situation. So on this post, what I'm showing you is, it says, it said, can we take a second to discuss AES Indiana predatory practices? It says, my bill was $192.53. I paid $180. The difference is $12.53. AES added a $704 deposit onto my next bill because I didn't pay $12.53. This behavior is inherently predatory. Regardless of perspective, it is important to note that my services were never disconnected. I intended to contact the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission and consult with an attorney. While I can afford to pay the deposit, the requirement is problematic. I'm worried about the people who can't afford this deposit and the potential effects on individuals with low or fixed incomes. And so when I saw that, I'm like, man, one, commendable. So shout out to my brother for sharing the post. And then at that point, shout out again, Morris Douglas for sharing that post. And then when I saw it again, so I jumped all over it. And mine was twofold. It just wasn't about Morris. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, Morris. And it wasn't me. I don't follow Morris. It was a friend of mine who saw the post and they sent it to me because of Morris. Again, shout out to me. So once they did that, I jumped on it. Now, I'm pretty nosy, and I looked and I said, all right, I just saw something about the recorder. I'm going to look that up. So what I did was I went and I looked up the Indianapolis Recorder. And for those of you who are not from Indianapolis, it's one of the oldest Black publications in the country. And so I went to the Indianapolis Recorder, and I knew that the Recorder were having the Impact Awards in 2026. And when I saw some of the nominees, or some of the people, not even nominees, I believe these people are going to be recipients of the award. So when I saw some of the recipients, I just kind of scrolled through. And when I scrolled through, I ran across an individual, and I was like, interesting. And what I saw was, I saw this. And it says the Rosa Parks. It's the Rosa Parks Trailblazer Award winner. And man, listen, some people criticize Rosa Parks because they said it was a setup. Cool, let's say it was. Here's the other part about Rosa Parks. Even if it was a setup, it was dangerous. It was a dangerous job. Rosa Parks was told to go sit on a bus and sit in the seat where Black folk wasn't supposed to sit. And when a white man came and told Rosa to get on up out the seat, Rosa said no. Now, to me, that is to be commended, because Rosa could have, let's be 100. She went to jail. We do know this. There is a mugshot of Rosa Parks, okay? So Rosa went to jail because she stood against an injustice, okay? So I don't know what the Indianapolis Recorder is doing. I don't understand their whole concept. I don't know how they came up with whatever it is that they came up with, but all I'm saying is this. This right here, if I'm looking at this don't match Rosa Parks. Okay? This doesn't match Rosa Parks. Why doesn't it match Rosa Parks, Gregory? Because this sister, it says President AES Indiana. Her name is Brandy Davis Handy. Brandy Handy. Okay? Brandy Davis Handy. Or Brandy Handy. President AES Indiana. A trailblazer in corporate leadership and community advocacy. Brandy Davis Handy, or Brandy Handy, is reshaping what inclusive energy leadership looks like. Her work reflects Rosa Parks' courage to stand for what's right and move communities forward. Celebrate her impact on January 16, 2026 at the Champions of Impact Awards. Now, if I'm not mistaken, let me be right, because I'm I'm kind of trying to get somewhere. Okay, so this is going to be on January 16th. Martin Luther King's true birthday is January 15th, and the celebration is going to be, what day did they say? January the 16th. Okay, and they're going to celebrate the actual holiday on what? January 19th. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. So it's close to Dr. King Day. Let us keep it right there. Then we look and we find that when we take Morris's post, we take Brandy Dandy, Brandy Handy, Brandy Davis Handy, Brandy Handy getting said award. And we realize that people in the city of Indianapolis are getting run amok because AES is charging everybody a security deposit that makes absolutely no sense. So once I knew that Brandy Davis Handy, Brandy Handy, was getting this award, and I knew that Morris had posted what Morris posted, at that point, I felt compelled to make a post and to share it with as many media sources as I could. Now, when I initially shared it, I was like, all right, well, I don't know if anybody is really going to pick it up, but I knew that one individual and one media source would pick it up. And that was my friend and my brother over at Black Indie Live. And when I tagged all these organizations, I'm like, you know, we're going to see what's happening because we want to shake this thing up. We want to bring some awareness to one. We wanted to bring awareness to another Black organization who is awarding a person simply because they're Black, but not looking at the credentials, right? Not looking at the whole picture and just saying, listen, that's my friend and they work for AES, so therefore we're going to award her for working at AES. And then we're going to wrongfully, Robert Chagag, we're going to wrongfully compare her work to that of Rosa Parks. While people are struggling to keep their power source going, we're going to compare this to Rosa Parks. This is what I'm working with, people. This is what goes on in the mind of Greg Meriweather every day. It's just thinking, how in the heck did you think it was okay for you to sit here and create this award and then give it to a person who is doing wrong, who is leading a company that is doing wrong to people? So when I sent it to my brother, and I said, man, of course, he and I, we kind of chop it up. We do some good conversation over things that are going on in the community and the media. So when I reached out to him, I'm like, bro, you gotta see this. And so I knew that at the end of the day, it wasn't in his best interest to necessarily talk about the recorder, but I love the fact that he still did his due diligence in sharing the story as it related to AES. So when he shared the story, this is pretty much what he shared. AES admits to overcharging Indiana residents, begins issuing refunds just 24 hours after our report on outrageous deposit fees on bills. And so when he did that, I mean, it made just a tremendous difference because it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. And I want you all to understand something, that when an individual, it is the easiest thing in the world. Let me tell y'all just the history of what happens with me in this city. It is the easiest thing in the world to beat up on one person who is fighting for justice. The easiest thing in the world. Because they're like, oh, ain't nobody coming to save him? ain't nobody coming to help Greg out? Okay, well, listen, we can really beat him up real good. And then we can utilize the fact that if we beat him up really good in public, then nobody is going to challenge us because they know that they're not going to get the help. So when Black Indie Live then posts this, the next morning I look and Black Indie Live has it just took off. Then the next morning I get up and I see that Fox 59, they have a really, really vague and brief segment on it. And I'm just like, okay, y'all not real. So then I get a call and a brother says, hey man, hey, they gonna call you. Yeah, this has made it all the way to the top. So some people gonna reach out to you. And then once I got that call, then I started seeing people who were like, hey, my bill is changing, or I have received something from AES that basically says we made a mistake and we want to fix our mistake. Now, I had to tell some people, I'm not, I don't have the phone number to call said people at AES, but I want you all to be patient and see if there can be anything that comes from just what's happening and them going back and them looking. But I want y'all to stay on their heads. I want y'all to stay on their top, because when it's all said and done, I need for y'all to make sure that at least your voices are heard. That's what this is about. So when it's all said and done, the true meaning of this story is this. Brother Morris, thank you. Thank you again. I'm gonna say this again with a hand clap, brother. Because of your bravery, 2, your concern for the community, and 3, your transparency to be willing to show people what was happening to you, and in hope that there could be some change or something to bring awareness. So shout out to Brother Morris for that. 2, shout out to Black Indians for hearing me take Brother Morris's story, adding my own twist to that story, and utilizing my platform in order for it to go to something bigger. And then you all utilizing that to basically drive it home. This was truly a relay. This is baton. 3 platforms, 3 different followings, may have some of the same people, but at the end of the day, it's influence. However, which level, however it goes, I believe, we all have 3 different levels of fellowship. And at the end of the day, everybody used it for the greater good of people that we may not even know, but we did the right thing by sharing. So shout out to my brothers for that, man. That's what you call great community work. So shout out to everybody for that. So, man, we just hope and pray that whatever comes out of the AES ordeal, something good comes out of it. I'm still on top of the Indianapolis Recorder because I do not like what they did. I thought it was, I thought it was stank. I thought it was trifling. That's just me. Okay. My first rant. So the next thing we're going to talk about is federal staffers who are headed back to work. Trump's target challenge U.S. prosecutor in court. So I want to talk about, federal workers now that there's been the government shutdown has taken place, longest shutdown we've had in U.S. history. Now I believe that government workers are going back to work. So let's check this out, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss it more, because I want us to. Let me make sure I get that right. So I want us to watch this, and then we'll come back, and then we'll talk about it. And let's see here. Not that one. This one. Start it again. There we go. There we go.
Tonight, just hours after the longest federal government shutdown came to an end.
It's an honor now to sign this incredible bill and get our country working again. Thank you.
New questions about how long it will take to recover from the impacts. At America's airports, the FAA is still ordering a 6% reduction in flights through the weekend. One major airline tells NBC News it had to rebook 50,000 passengers over the last 2 weeks. Today, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem rewarding TSA officers who worked during the shutdown without pay with $10,000.
They're going to get a bonus check for stepping up, taking on extra shifts.
And we've learned federal workers will start getting paychecks, including back pay, as soon as this Saturday. But federal contractors don't get back pay.
Are you worried about being evicted?
Oh, I'm very worried. They could come knocking any day. They have
like Althea Hart, a contractor for the Agriculture Department, who's gone without a paycheck for more than a month.
It's like digging out of debt, managing a new job, going through an eviction, trying to find a new place. It's just, it just piles on.
As for SNAP food benefit assistance, the USDA says that states will receive their funds within the next 24 hours, but it could be until Monday before recipients get them.
So when we see that, it's interesting. I mean, I'm glad that people are getting to get back to work. I have a family member who truly works for the government, who has had to deal with the shutdown, from a very, very intense perspective. And I couldn't imagine you go a month and a half with no pay and the impact that it's had just on those people. The other thing is the impact that it's had just on, Department of Education, Department of Justice, transportation, the airport, air traffic control, all these things. And it is a tough thing because when we just think about we think about just how many people, and then we think about just how the lives of people are so entrenched in political civil war. And it's unfortunate because when you think that these people are only operating as the voices of the people who elect them, then you realize that there's something broken in American politics. And something is broken to the degree where there is such a hostile environment where one group wants this, one group wants that, but what do the people want? And it's almost like the people are totally not being heard. And, I challenge the mentality of democracy. I hear a lot of people, we're losing democracy, or they're doing this and they're taking away democracy and all that kind of stuff. And I remember listening to one of my mentors who I do not know, but Noam Chomsky. And he said, I don't know why people believe that there is a democracy. And I challenge it. And I'm like, how is it a democracy if there are more poor people than rich people? And if there are more poor people than rich people, then the poor people, if they wanted to change everything, yes, all they have to do is vote. And if they voted, they can easily overturn the rich. But we know that that's not possible. There's a book called The Wealth of Nations that I would tell anybody to read, because I think that when you really want to understand just the dynamics of what is happening in the political world, I think you have to dive far deeper into the political realm to understand that there is something in play that keeps things the same. Now, I'm not saying, Greg Meriweather is not saying don't vote. Greg Meriweather is saying that we have to be far more aware of what power we believe we have. Because if we're looking at things currently and we realize that most of the people in Congress are rich, and if I'm a rich person, why in the world would I fight for the likes of you if I know that it probably could take food from my table? Why would I fight for me to have more taxes when in fact it can hurt me? And I think that that's the other part that really disturbs me, just from a political perspective, is how the media feeds into it. People who are party focused really feed into it, because when you look and it's time to run for an office, you find that it's so difficult. It's not difficult from a Constitution perspective. It's not difficult to run for office from a Constitution perspective. It's difficult to run for office from a political perspective, Because then even in that, you find that there are so many loopholes and so many things that those parties do to stop you from running, right? So when you find out that there is something behind the scenes that causes things like this to happen, and typically it has nothing to do with the people, it has nothing to do with the citizens, it has everything to do with a small group of people who we have lent our power to, supposedly, who never think about us once they're voted, once they're elected. So I just want us to really think about just this whole government shutdown thing and just the impact that it has had on our communities as a whole, and what we must do in order for those things to either be minimal or to not happen again. The other part is this. I mean, even though you've had it, you talk about the bill being signed and, you still have the, you can have something happen again on the 30th, right? It says a bill passed by Congress and signed by Trump funds the government until January 30th with carve-outs for SNAP benefits, benefits targeted at women, infants, children, or WIC, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and Congress. Those will all be funded until the end of September 2026. But you still got some stuff that it could possibly be another form of a shutdown in January, which leads me to this. So when you think about there could possibly be some kind of a shutdown again in January, what does that do to the mentality of the common American citizen? I'm not one who really wants to get into the Christmas holiday or Thanksgiving and Christmas, but if I'm thinking that I've already missed 45 days of pay, they just showed that they gave 10 grand to TSA workers, I believe that was, and you're playing catch up. And let's say you do get caught up. Let's say that, you got some change left. Are you just going to spend that money? I mean, are you going to throw it away when you trust this system of people? Are you going to just start spending money again and trust this system that says, hey, man, we got you? Or are you going to be a little more reserved with your cheese and make sure that, we may not want to spend a lot of that money for Thanksgiving and Christmas? Just I'm not in your pocket. I'm just saying that I would probably think long and hard about this if there's a possibility of some form of a shutdown in January. So just stay aware. That's all I'm saying. Don't be mad at it, brother. Be mad at the system. That's what I got. So in other news, man, we had so the other part of the government shutdown was SNAP benefits. And so you've heard that SNAP benefits have now kicked back in. And, a lot of people are now, getting the thing going back again, which brings me to another subject. So recently, our brother, our 317 Indianapolis brother, Mike Epps, was just on the Breakfast Club. And he was asked a plethora of questions on the Breakfast Club, but there was one thing that came up that was pretty hefty, and it was about the SNAP benefits and what his thought was about SNAP benefits, and if whatever his view was on that. So let's listen to what Brother Mike has to say, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Damn stuff get cut off. Don't worry about that. See, black people, we've been getting our shit cut off. We've been getting our doors kicked in and stuff. This is not for us. So don't take this as personal about the food stamps and all that. I'm actually glad they cutting some of these niggas off food stamps, because some of us need to not be on food stamps, because it's a trickle-down effect. You get the food stamps, then you go buy the food that give you cancer. Then you eat the food that give you cancer. Then you're sad. You walking around here upset. Your diet's fucked up. Now I'm going to tell you some honest God truth. Your diet then sent a lot of niggas to prison.
Explain.
They're going to take all of this and put it on Fox News.
Yeah.
And it's going to say, Mike Epps says, you niggas don't need to be on food stamps.
You think so?
Yeah.
And you going to go viral, and they going to call you MAGA Mike.
MAGA Mike is cool.
You got to finish the joke now.
Listen, brothers and sisters. Listen, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters! You don't know what this world is coming to? No, listen to this. No, they can't say that about me. See, that's one thing about me, little Boosie badass. We can't be canceled.
No, y'all can't be canceled. But I'm just telling you, the internet gonna be mad. DL.
So, with that being said, I mean, what's your thought? I was talking. I had a conversation with an individual, and we were just talking about just food stamps and the whole process of food and food banks, pantries, all that kind of stuff. And I never really thought about the magnitude of it. I never thought that, okay, there are a lot. Now, when people are hungry, you know, like during this shutdown, you had, you know, people who went to sites and they said the line was wrapped around, you know, around the corner. But let's just talk about it in a regular situation. And we realized that people are needing food. You can pretty much go and gather some food. I mean, for real, you can go and get some food. And here's what's happening, or here's what was stated. Well, people could go get food, G, and then they'll go to all the food pantries, they'll go to all the food giveaways. And then after they do that, they'll have their food. If they get other forms of assistance, then it you know, whether it be rental assistance and all this kind of stuff, or, you know, if they get a Social Security check, all this kind of stuff, and then their food is taken care of as well, it's easy to sell your food stamps. And like, it's easy to sell your food stamps because all the other needs have been met. And the way to get some excessive cash is by selling the food stamps, because you've already been supplied with food in other realms from other places. And I was like, dang, I never really looked at it like that. You know, being a person who's I'm thankful to God, never been in that situation. But when I think about it now, I'm like, dang, that's real. And so I don't know if that's the way that Mike Epps is looking at it, but there is a reason. There is a way to look at it. And the other thing is this, just from a diet perspective, I know that we've made it, and I've seen other states who have made it where you can't buy certain types of foods, all the sugary foods and stuff like that, and, you know, pushing you towards a better diet. Granted, I'm not sure if the diet has caused people to go to prison, as opposed to the environment and the behavior and the things that are pushed into our minds. I will say this, that a poor diet does feed into poor mentality. So maybe that does, in a sense, feed into it. But I think our diet, as far as what we put into our minds, is far more detrimental. You know, I ain't never had an Oreo made me want to kill nothing. I ain't never had a Chip Ahoy that made me want to kill nothing. I ain't never had none of that. I ain't never had a Snicker that made me want to rob somebody. Not once. So, you know, I'm just saying, Brother Mike. Just saying. And so when I look at that, you know, and here's the other part. A lot of people look at the benefits and everything that happened with the benefits, and they think black people. Listen, that is the rumor from the pit of hell. And we're going to look at that. But black people are not the vast majority of people who are getting said benefits from the government. So let's look at this, and then we'll come back and we're going to talk about just all the claims and stuff that people talk about, because it ain't us. It ain't us.
Food assistance, 40 million, losing money to get for groceries because of the government shutdown. Now, you've probably heard a lot about SNAP recently. It's an acronym for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, the largest anti-hunger program in this country. There's been a lot of misinformation going around about those who receive SNAP benefits. So here are the facts, according to the most recent government data. Nearly 20% of SNAP recipients are adults over 60. More than 11% are children younger than 5. 10% of those receiving SNAP benefits include non-elderly individuals who have a disability. And Here's the number I really want to focus on. 28% of people on SNAP have earned income. A majority had a gross monthly income at or below 100% of the poverty level. So for example, for a family of 4, the average poverty level salary is $32,150 a year. What I want you to take away from that is lots of these folks have jobs. They are working, but they still don't make enough to cover daily expenses. People like this.
I work almost 90 hours a week. I work the weekends. I work third shift. I make $17 an hour. And I still need food stamps because I can't afford to feed my kid.
There's more. White Americans are the largest racial group getting the food assistance. Nearly 90% were born here in the US, and the other roughly 10%, they're either naturalized citizens, refugees, or other non-citizens. If we're gonna talk about the face of hunger in the richest country in the world, let's at least be honest about who it is we're talking about.
So let's be honest about who it is we're talking about. And honestly, I mean, even honestly, when it comes down to this, it's unfortunate that anyone would need assistance to eat. And, you know, I know in the city of Indianapolis, we had a mayor who ran on the ABCs. A job, let me do it in his voice. We've got the ABCs of work. We've got a job, we've got a better job, and then we've got a career. So let me tell y'all, the ABCs ain't working. We are living in a world where AI is taking over. We living in a world where automation is taking over. We walk into grocery stores every day, and listen, think on this. Our impatience has caused us to remove jobs. We walk in grocery stores and we go to self-checkouts now, not thinking that is taking a job away, because now you don't get the service aspect of it. And that's crazy to me. So now you go in, you get your food, you walk through, you get your food, you do this, and then all of a sudden you got to go and take the same food out, scan all your food, bag all your food, put your food back in the cart, and go on about your way. Not thinking, dang, because it used to be a time when I grew up, when I was a young teenager, I worked in the grocery store. It was one of those jobs to where it was like, you know what, this is something that you can do, and to make you a little bit of money. So it trained us. It trained us to, you know, it trained us to be in the working class, in the working field. It helped us to learn a little level of responsibility, so on and so forth, have some pride about making some money. I could buy my own sneakers, buy my own, you know, buy my candy during the summer or whatever, buy my school clothes, all this kind of stuff. But we don't think about all the things that we have accepted in society from the rich that causes us to remove jobs on our own simply because we're not thinking. Nonetheless. And all this, and it's all a cycle, because then all of a sudden, all of us start relying on this system of government, all these rich people, and we realize that the rich run the government. And then you realize that, dang, this is not a democracy. This is not a democracy. And now it's really not a republic. It's like is it a cacistocracy, a cacistocracy, where it says that it's being ran by the incompetent. So nonetheless, I just want us to be aware of that, because when it's all said and done, it's like this system is working, people. It's not working for you, it's working against you, but you're also part of it working this way simply because we don't exercise our voice, we don't share great information. And at the same time, we believe in it to the degree where we're loyal to something, and we're loyal to it not changing. The same people every year. In your local government, the same people every year, the same people at the table, the same levers being pulled, and nothing is changing. That's our fault. Period. Just saying. Don't be mad at the messenger. I'm just a brother trying to make it. Just a brother trying to make it. So let's move on to some gory news. Because I'm going to close out with this, because I just, you know, a little satire and a little silliness. But I did get a chance to look at the 3 emails that were about President Trump because I don't know why I looked at it. I just thought it was interesting. and so I looked at it and I was just like, okay. What's the importance of this? And I realized that this country is built on some sick stuff. Okay? Sick. This country is built on sickness and sexual immorality. This country thrives on it. And Black people should know this better than anybody, just simply by all the things that happened through chattel slavery. But nonetheless, let's look at some of these emails, and then we're gonna get out of here because we can't take too much truth. I'm dedicated to trying to make this show 45 minutes to an hour because we can't take too much truth. Okay, so let's look at some of these emails, or these 3 emails, and kind of mess with it. Okay. Here's the first email. Importance. Hi, this was sent on 4/2/11 at 7:09 p.m. JEE vacation at Gmail. Okay. It says, I've been thinking about that. The original message from Jeffrey Epstein says, I wanted you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim, all caps covered, highlighted, spent hours at my home with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Interesting. Second email says, victim, Mar-a-Lago. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Interesting. And then finally, it says, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you Jeffrey Epstein, you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. And it says, if we were going backwards, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? And that was prior to what was stated there. And then the other says, I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in Scrum afterwards. So one, here's what we can't do. We can't say that he didn't know. That's just the truth. We can't say he did not know. I'm sure his heart was beating when these came out, but we can't say he didn't know. And the other thing is this. I think that if Donald Trump were charged with something, what would it be? Depending on the age of the girls, that's one thing. The other thing is, you saw Prince Andrew being stripped of everything of his in England, which is quite hypocritical of the English, being that they probably participated in some of the worst and most heinous sex crimes known to mankind. Our history, again, is built on it when you think of all the forefathers and all the crazy stuff that they did, but we won't go there either. And then you have to look at just the nature of the country. So what were the ages of the girls? If he's charged with anything, it's being involved with sex trafficking. It probably won't be the age of the girls. I think that is what a lot of people don't get about America, is the age of consent. And if he's charged with anything, it will be with sex trafficking, period, or his knowledge of sex trafficking. So when we look at the age of consent, United States age of consent map, we look all over here. we've got, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we got 12 out of 50 states. Think about that. 12 out of 50 states where the age of consent is 18. Think on that. 12 out of 50 states where the age of consent is 18. The vast majority of the states in America, the age of consent is, you guessed it, 16 years old. So when you think about the age of consent being 16 years old, there's a conspiracy in itself. That means older men in America have been trained to indulge in young women. Think about this. This is rule. This is a rule. This is not just, that makes sense. No, this is law. So if I look and I realize that the law says that I can, like literally at my age, I can go out here and indulge in a child that could be my granddaughter. That's insane. So when I think about all the stuff that we're looking at, everybody wanting to look at the Trump files, the Epstein files, the Diddy's, the R. Kelly's, the forefathers, all these men that are deemed sexual predators, and not saying that we are dang near a predator type of nation. Because, okay, you help me understand what's the difference between a predator and a man who's not a predator. Oh, she's a freshman in high school and she's in the 6th grade. I mean, help me understand. So if I'm looking at, she's 16. So 14 makes you a predator, but 16 doesn't? I'm really trying to be clear on this. 14 makes you a predator, but 16 doesn't. You're a predator. Your predator is 16. Let's just keep it a buck. And I think that we have to look at the sickness of the structure of our country first. And then we can look at all the rest, because the men who made these rules were indulging in underage sex. And they made the rules and they made it okay. And when it's all said and done, it's merely a distraction. It really is. Because again, the only thing that he can be charged with is participating in sex trafficking, having the knowledge of sex trafficking, which is a big crime. Don't get it wrong, which is a humongous crime. But at the same time, that's all you got, simply because of the nature of the country we live in called the United States of America. That's all I got, people. That's all I got. So anyway, man, let's close this out. So I just want to say this. This is mad important to me, because when creating this environment, this show, I want us to understand the nature of Black media. It's necessary. It's necessary for us to be able to tell our own stories. It's necessary to hear our own opinions. It's necessary to look at their media and figure out how it impacts us, those rules, and how they impact us, to walk outside in the general public and have a better understanding of what it means to be Black and live in this country. Our children need to be more knowledgeable. We need to have avenues. We need to get back to sitting down, reading, listening, watching, sharing, knowing what's going on in the news, knowing what's going on everywhere. Because when we know that, we're a stronger general public. And it's time for us to stop being duped simply because we don't know. So let's do a better job by getting more knowledge and then sharing the knowledge. So make sure that you subscribe to the Unmitigated Truth YouTube page. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on X, and then let's build the platform through the sponsor company, Mary My Creations. that's how we bring this. Meriweather Creations is the company. The Unmitigated Truth is just a company that is part of the Meriweather Creations. It's part of the system. So, man, I just want to continue doing this. This is a passion of mine that I love. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to doing more and more and more and more. So make sure we do our part by sharing the unmitigated truth. This has been y'all's brother. I appreciate y'all. Have a blessed day. Peace.